Hey, welcome everyone. Pat Mitchell here with Tricktrades. And in today's lesson, this is an important one, especially if you trade options that are outside of, your traditional Aapl, AMD, and SPY options. I'm going to teach you exactly how to get into options that may be a little bit lower of volume. Now remember, it won't be necessarily less liquid. They will be less volumatic, meaning less volume in them. And there's a certain way that you need to get into these trades. So if this is something you're interested in, make sure to stick around, like, share, and subscribe. And if this isn't something you're interested in, well, beat it, nerd, because you're a 90%er and we got work to do. So let's hit these charts and let's start discussing these trades. So these are the trades from Friday. Been pretty busy here this week, but traded Aapl and Intel. Now I took two different strike prices and I'll explain why on Intel, locking in roughly about $7,500 on the day. Pretty decent day, especially for a Friday. Intel was something that came up kind of out of nowhere. It wasn't on the watch list. I just happened to notice that if it started, because it started to squeeze first thing in the morning. We'll get into the charts for a little better explanation here, but I want to give you a little bit of context first. So with that said, on Intel, it started squeezing into a resistance level that was way up. And I said, if is a big word. If it gets there, we're going to take that trade short and we're going to lock in some nice profit. And sure enough, it came in. It didn't quite hit that target, but I'm going to show you a trigger where you're going to want to start loading into this trade. So first off, traded Aapl. Now, this might be a little bit longer of a recap because there's a lot going on here. What I want you to do is I want you to focus on this options chart. Okay, this is an options chart. Do you see how it broke and came lower and most people would freak out and sell out of their position? Well, sometimes you have to be able to withstand a little bit of pain. Okay, now with me withstanding a little bit of pain, I was able to lock in about $2,100. So now I want to start diving into the other charts. Okay, so you see how Aapl on the stock chart did not break these lows? Didn't break lows, held a double bottom. So why would you get out of that position? It is still confirming strength. So then you're just simply patient, you let it work, you work your trade plan, and you start locking in as soon as it starts to push. So that's one lesson. Don't get freaked out just because the options might be melting down. Remember, it's a Friday. Those options are going to melt down. Time decay will be a bitch and it won't be comfortable, but that's something that you have to deal with as a trader. If it has not broke your trade plan, you simply stick with it, folks. So now let's get into Intel. So this was a really, really nice trade here. Didn't pull back quite as far as I wanted it to, but that's okay. I had a level. I'm going to pull this back a little bit. So the actual level on this was 53.07. Right there. You see how it did not come really anywhere close to that level? But what did the stock start doing first? It broke out and it squeezed. It went parabolic. Now remember, these aren't penny stocks, folks. Okay? When you have a secondary parabolic push on a stock like Intel, it's done. It's done. It'll come back up and it'll retest, which it did. It did exactly that. It'll produce a double top, confirming weakness. So once it starts coming up like that and it goes parabolic, you start averaging in. Because really, it's a $50 stock. Are you willing to risk 40 cents on a $50 stock? Sure, why not, right? Now, I was expecting more of a pullback, so it definitely would have been a bigger trade had it been, if it actually really confirmed. But Intel is still very strong. If you look at the daily chart is, oops, sorry guys, one sec, is super, it's going nuts. And I was looking for the gap fill, and if it tested that gap fill, it'll come back. But it actually tested resistance here. Do you see? It's kind of hard to get it. Right there. Perfect. Dead nuts, bang on. So it went parabolic into the first level of resistance on the way up. Okay. I was looking for the gap fill, but it still confirmed at a resistance point that it was going parabolic into it. Now that should give you more than enough confidence in the trade. Okay, so once it starts coming in, now Intel, to get to the bulk of this video lesson, and I hope you guys are still following along here. There's a lot of great information here. So with that said, once it starts going parabolic like this, folks, start averaging in just little bits. Intel is not a very volumatic trader. You can pull up any options chart on Intel and you'll see it's just little blips here and there. It looks like a super liquid penny stock. Here's the difference. Tim Sykes has lied to you. Options are not illiquid. He used the wrong word. They are not illiquid. They are super liquid. There are hundreds, if not thousands of contracts just waiting to be bought and sold on the bid and ask. Okay? It may be a little bit unvolumatic, not a lot of volume in that option, but you will not get slippage. Just look at the spread and you will be fine. The spreads were still fairly tight within a penny or two, which is fine. And you just start taking little nibbles. Don't hammer it with everything you got, because then you probably will experience a little bit of slippage. Just start averaging in little bits, little bits. You're protected by this level. You see where this level was on the daily chart? Look where it top ticked. It came flying right into that level. You're protected. Guys, you got to trust technical analysis, and you have to trust support and resistance. And you have to trust your trade plans. But better yet, you need to have a trade plan. You need to have a strategy. You need someone on your side that's going to teach you exactly how to do this and trade it with confidence. Now, I was able to lock in about almost $4,000 on one trade and then a couple K on the other, just on Intel. I traded two different strike prices just in case it wanted to keep flying up to 53. So I took the 53s and the 53.50s. If you pull up the options chart, you'll see that it is, there's not a lot of volume there. Okay, so you just average in just little tiny bits, a few contracts here, a few contracts there, all the way up into your level. You're protected by support and resistance. That's all I got to say, guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoy this. And if you did, how about you give it a thumbs up and give it a share and help the cause out. Let's get some proper education out there, folks. Okay, guys, have a great weekend. Adios.